I think part of being a startup is actually facing challenges and failures. I think, it's only 2% of all startups that actually make it to some kind of product market fit. So I think that the whole idea with startups is trying to do what no one has done before and challenging the existing. Of course, sometimes you're going to get it right and sometimes you're going to get it wrong, and there are so many different things. So I think that is the joy of being a startup, getting all those things together. But I think one of the most important things in all startups is to really redefine, how is the business model? How can you innovate in zeros? How can you rethink the existing? And one of the major things that if you look at successful startups is that they've redefined what costs is. Because if you want to challenge an industry, you often do that by having a better product to a lower price. So that is the main fundamentals of these thinking. And it's of course super difficult to figure that one out, like it's been a taxi industry for years and years, and then someone figures Uber out, and Spotify. So how do you rethink these things? But it's often to do with the cost side. For me, it means basically if you take all the line items in the Excel and all the cost items, say, okay, how can we do this not only cheaper, but how can we do it at a fraction of the cost, or 10% of the cost? And how would that customer experience look like if we only did it for 10% of the cost? And how could we develop that? Because it's otherwise you start rethinking things, you take things down 5-10%, but here's fundamentally rethinking cost, but then also seeing how can we then define this as a product market fit, and will people actually use it and love it, and can it be a complement rather than being competition? So I think the biggest challenge corporates do when they're facing disruption is that they cling on to their old business model too long, because it's very profitable, they're making a lot of money, they want to embrace the new model, and they do it and they copy it, but they can't get rid of their old model, but they need to understand that it's obsolete, and that cash flow will actually generate money to get to the interesting part. I think the most innovative companies I see, they use their cash and revenue to always put themselves in a better place for tomorrow instead of making money. So I think a lot of incumbents have this belief that it's all about making money for their shareholders, but if you look at the most successful companies that have both value creation on the stock side, but also in revenues, have always been predominantly thinking, okay, how can we make, find a better place for tomorrow? And it's like not being in love with your business model, it's about being in love with your customer and understanding that this customer will move on.